Very happy to have with us Mr. Keith Noronha, a very young, enterprising chartered accountant who has just finished his program and is going to talk to us about it. The reason we are doing these programs is to inform all those young people out there who are not quite yet decided what they like to do. And through this information that we are giving you, hopefully you will be able to decide whether you want to get into finance and therefore what in finance. So Keith is ready to tell us a lot more. Keith, thank you very much for coming here to the studios and being with us. Okay. Generally, chartered accountants are considered to be a very prestigious kind of a profession. What is your view about it? Is that so?
Of course, I agree with you and the views of the general public. Chartered accountancy is considered as a prestigious course and a prestigious qualification as such. No doubt, in public domain, we hold financial statements of many big financial houses, big companies, and these companies trust us with their financial statements. And then we work on these statements and we also give our opinion whether their statements present a true and fair view. And we report this not just to management, but the shareholders and the general public at large.
Okay.
And since the shareholders, the company, the management has trust in us with these big financials, of course, it gives us a lot of prestige.
Yeah, that must be quite a big responsibility, isn't it? That's right. Okay. Now, you know, there is this question always asked, especially those who are very keen on finance. What is the difference between a chartered accountant and an MBA finance? How would you say, which is a student is confused. Which one would you say that he should take? Does he require a special background to be a chartered accountant? Does he require a special background to be a MBA finance? What is it all about?
As much as I would not like to draw comparisons.
Yeah.
However, what I would say is a person who's doing an MBA in finance, their role is probably limited more to a industry role in the finance sector. Whereas someone who's done CA has a much wider approach, wherein you can go into finance, into the industry, as well as they're open to various areas such as audit, taxation, which in terms couldn't be pursued by someone who's done an MBA.
Okay. Now, I am told, please correct me if I go wrong, that one can decide to go for a CA directly after the 12th standard, or he has an option to go finish his BCom and then go for CA. What is the option you chose and why?
All right. So both the options are still possible. At my time, we had only one option when I pursued my course. That time, we had the option of answering an exam known as a CPT, which is a common proficiency test, which we could answer soon after 12th standard.
Right.
So that option still exists now as well, wherein someone who wants to pursue CA has to apply for this course, which is CPT, soon after their 12th standard, and which is an entrance exam. If one has completed their BCom, then one can go through the second route, which is also known as a direct entry route, wherein a person who has secured more than 55% in their graduation in BCom can directly skip the CPT and directly go to the next step, which is the Ipcc.
Okay, right. So, if you are doing the first one, that is 12th standard, do you require to have a minimum percentage in your 12th standard?
No, not exactly.
So, anybody who has got maths as one of his subjects, or any subject?
You don't require maths also. No doubt we have maths in 12th, but as I'm saying, the course is structured in such a way where it tests you on accountancy, maths, law, and economics.
Okay, right.
At least when I did it, the course keeps changing, no doubt. But it's a blend between you have MCQ as well as I think now they've recently introduced a little subjective matter also in your entrance exam.
So what you're saying, if I've understood you right, is technically a arts, a commerce, a science can appear for CPT.
Yes, they can, if you're going through the entrance exam.
Let's get this very clear, because you see, the thing is like this. If you want to be a chartered accountant and you have taken arts, it is not that you are prohibited from doing CA. All you have to do is appear for the CPT, and then if you make it, then you go through the thing of a chartered accountant. Yes. Now, I also further hear that there are 3 levels to clear before you are actually certified as a chartered accountant.
That's right.
So can you tell us more about what are these 3 levels and how difficult it is and how long it takes?
All right. So the first level, as I said, is your CPT, which is an entrance exam. So these are also, I can also say they're held twice a year, once in June, once in December. So once you enroll for it, you can answer it. So the moment you pass that exam, then your next level is your intermediate Ipcc course, as it's called. That consists of 2 groups of 8 subjects, 4 in each group. So a person has an option to either answer both the groups together, or they can split it as one group at a time. After you clear your first group, then you also have to do 3 years of your articleship. So you register yourself with a chartered accountancy firm or a proprietor, and you work with them usually in the field of audit for 3 years, where you get a lot of exposure. And this phase is considered very important because it actually gives you a lot of practical exposure in the course, especially into audit. And after you complete these 3 years of your articleship, and after finishing both your groups of the intermediate, then last you register for the final course, which again consists of 2 groups of 4 papers each. The Ipcc and the final course are both subjective, so you have the process of answering an exam, whereas the CPT, which is the first course, is an objective. You have multiple choice questions, but as I said, they've introduced some subjective matter in that as well.
Let's go to that first part again. You said there are 4 subjects and there are another 4 subjects, okay? Now, how long does it normally take to clear this 8 subjects?
So a person, as I said, if they answered both the groups in one attempt and they're successful, well, that's good for them. If you want to split it, you can split it between the first group if you answer it in May. These are held in May and in November. So you can answer it over a period of 6 months. And if you are successful and you get through in the first attempt, then you're done in 1 year if you split it.
So how difficult is this program?
So I would say for a person who's entered into a CA fresh and new, I would consider an Ipcc course a little more difficult compared to CA final, just because of the jump. Because when we complete our 12th standard, we answer an entrance, and this is a new industry for us. It's a big jump in terms of how much we study, right from a 12th standard to that. So that jump is a little bit difficult, no doubt. But of course, what is important in a CA degree is your time management. As I keep stressing, and I tell everyone else also who asks, it's not about the course being tough. It is tough to some extent, no doubt, but many people have cleared it. So it's not that it's impossible. But what's more important is how you manage your time. Because what they say in CA is it's not tough, but it's lengthy. Okay. So you need to know how to manage your time.
Right, okay. So let's put it this way. Do you need a tutor to help you learn those 8 subjects, or can you do it on your own?
So both views are possible again. There are many of my friends who have also done it without a tutor. There are many who have taken classes as well. Both are possible. However, you need to be committed and focused. You cannot be distracted doing other courses and other things as well, because you need to give your due time when you're studying it. I would say both are possible. It depends on the person.
So have we got this clear now, that if you're doing these 8 subjects, you can do it without a tutor. You don't have to go to any tutor, but you have to be committed. So it's a tough program because it demands your attention all the time. Now you go to the final part, okay? And that comes after the articleship of 3 years. That is compulsory.
3 years.
And how do you get into the articleship? Do you have to apply, or do the institute?
We have to go and apply. We can choose a form of our own, and if we get through the interview and all, then.
Is that difficult again?
Not really. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah. And are you paid during that period?
Yes, we are paid a stipend during that period.
Is it okay one, or is it just cover your transport?
Regulated by the ICAI, which is the institute as such.
Right.
And
so that is 3 years. Then the final program is how long?
The final program again consists of 2 groups of 4 papers each.
Ah.
So again, a person can either answer both together or can split it over 6 months.
So in short, if you put it in another way, after the 12th, it would take approximately 5 years to be a CA.
That's right. Because we have 3 years which goes for your articleship, and you can say around 2 years to complete all your exams.
Now, there is another thing that I have understood, that if you find it too tough, at some point you can stop and they give you a certification as a technician. Does that help the person if he cannot make it to the higher level of chartered accountant, that he then steps out and becomes a technician?
To be honest, I am not much well read regarding.
Naturally, because you're a CA.
But what I would also like to add over here is someone who is not completed their CA is also known as a semi-qualified to some extent, and they also have a with reference to getting a job in the industry. Of course, they are also given a preference because they have done their studies to some extent, part of the course. They also have an exposure in terms of the articleship. So it could give them an edge over someone who's not entered into a CA course.
Now, okay, you have finished all that program now, and now you're a chartered accountant. Is there a big ceremony to say that now you're a CA and all that sort of thing?
There is one which we can apply for, which is conducted by the different regions of ICAI, which is the institute, and we need to apply for it. So it's not mandatory, but of course I would advise everyone to go for it because it's a very nice and prestigious ceremony where we go and we can meet people from all over India who are come to celebrate.
So where is this ceremony held?
So it's held in the various regions. So for mine in Goa, we don't have it held in Goa as such, but we can apply for it in Mumbai, in Pune.
So where did you go?
For mine in Mumbai.
All right, okay. Now, there are two things that I have not quite understood about CA. One is, some CAs tell me they are experts in the audit side of the business. Some CAs tell me they sign the final balance sheet of the company. So what is what and how does it really work?
The balance sheet again is audit as well. But what I would like to say, there's a common misconception when someone says if you've done CA, I either have two options. One is to go to audit or one is to go in industry. Well, these no doubt are major functions, but it doesn't end there. The scope is quite varied for a chartered accountant. There is an industry, no doubt. There is audit, there's taxation, transfer pricing, international taxation. We have forensic investigation, and the list goes on. There are many probably I am also not aware of. However, audit and industry are considered as the two main branches, no doubt. But as I said, there are many other functions.
You mentioned one which is very interesting, forensic. How serious has it become now because of the hacking and whatnot that is going on?
It is a very interesting industry, no doubt. We go much more into in-depth investigation as well. When we do audit, in an audit, we give an opinion that our financial statements are true and fair. But it's not an investigation as such, wherein we are not going to drill down. But of course.
That's right. So does one have to do a further study to get into forensics? Accountancy, or is there something special for that?
Not that, but you have different small courses also conducted by the institute post chartered accountancy.
Okay.
But otherwise, you're well to do with a CA degree.
Now tell me, having now cleared your CA, do you have to constantly year by year get yourself recertified or something like that?
Not re-certified as such, but definitely we CA being a diverse course which is always updating itself. We need to keep ourselves updated with various pronouncements and stuff. So we have different trainings which are conducted by the institute as well, which we need to register. Also, once we apply for our membership, we need to do that particular quota of around 30 hours per year, wherein we do different trainings, attend different seminars, which need to keep us updated.
Because our finance minister, year by year, he comes out with a new tax proposals. So you all have to be all the time.
Yes, we need to be well read, no doubt. That is one important thing in our course. We have to keep ourselves updated. But these are also seen through different. We have our ICI, which releases magazines with updates. Also, they conduct in our respective offices various seminars and trainings to keep us updated.
Now, what about the money side of the business? Well, two parts to this question actually. First and foremost, are there readily jobs available for CAs? One, and is the remuneration attractive enough?
Yes, no doubt. I would say the job industry is booming for a chartered accountant because there is a lot right now also due to the introduction of GST in the previous year. There's a lot of job creation again in that field. But no doubt, don't foresee such a bad shape for chartered accountants currently.
So there, job-wise, there is absolutely no problem to get a job. Okay.
Not at all.
And what about the remuneration? Don't. I'm not interested in what you're getting. I just want to know a ballpark thing of what would one expect having cleared CA and as a starting.
So once you clear your chartered accountant and you're qualified, you could expect a package which could start you decently at around 6 lakhs per annum.
Okay. And say after 5 years of experience,
It goes higher. No doubt.
about 10, 12.
Definitely.
The bigger the company, more the responsibility,
Depends
and
on the position.
higher the thing. Okay. Now, about getting into higher levels of management. Now, you are a chartered accountant, you are the boss in the financial side of the company, all that is fine. There is a vacancy for a CEO. Who would get it? Now, somebody who has done a CA or somebody who has done IIT and MBA?
I would say equal weightage will be given to both. It would be an equal opportunity.
So who would benefit in your view? The one who knows his numbers very well, or one who knows industry very well, or what?
Depends on the kind of industry again.
Okay, all right. Now, one final question. There are many youngsters who are wanting to do CA, and they naturally are a bit hesitant after whether they should do it after 12th or whether they should do it after graduation. And then the question comes up about the number of years it takes, because whether you're a 12th standard or whether you're a graduate, you have to go to the 3 years articleship, right? So what would be your advice? I mean, having gone through it yourself, would you say it is better to do it after 12th, or would you say it is better to do after graduation?
Well, it depends on person to person. There are many people who do not want to do their graduation, which is again fine because your graduation gets covered in your CA course, obviously. However, my advice to them would be, as I said even earlier, be committed, be focused, make it your priority, because once you get into the course, you need to come out of it as well. So you need to be focused. And also things such as your articleship and all, you need to take it seriously, because that is the only place where you get hands-on experience about the job and you get a lot of practical exposure which will help you later on in life. So because so it's very important to focus on that, and of course on your studies when the time is right. I would say, if you're asking my personal opinion, doing it after 12th makes sense because you save 3 years of your time and you could become a chartered accountant much earlier.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there are say somebody who's doing his arts and he's not very, very strong in his figures and numerics, etc.
Yeah, so for a person like that, see, that can also get covered through your CPT. When he could also, if he's taking the jump from an art stream to commerce, he should of course do a little more research and get the basics of accountancy for him to get that base. But I wouldn't see the need for him in that sense. No offense, I'm not telling people not to do the graduation as well, as also your graduation gives you a lot of security. Say in a case, if a person is unable to complete their CA at the end of the day, you at least have your graduation.
That's right, yeah, I think
so, but only what could give me a difference between the two is your saving of 3 years of your time.
All right, okay, yeah, that's right, exactly. Okay, so to sum it all up, it is definitely worthwhile to become a chartered accountant because the job scenery is very strong. Now, because I'm saying this specifically because the engineering side, the job scenery is not as strong as it used to be, except for computers, which is a separate issue. But if you're going in for general engineering today, the job scene is not as good as it used to be. So if somebody is between deciding to go for engineering as opposed to going for chartered accountancy, I would say, having heard you and knowing what the market situation is, that it is better to opt for a CA.
They're both different branches at the end of the day.
Right, Keith, thank you so much for your time. And those of you who are watching this program and are still in two minds and you still want to know more, get hold of this young man. He's very knowledgeable, he's very helpful, and he'll be there to guide you in case you are still searching for answers. Thank you again. God bless.
Thank you.